Santa Barbara and Ventura counties have some of the best agricultural land in the world. These Central Coast counties have over 800,000 acres of farmland, making up over 3,500 farms. And these farms grow more than 250 different crops, including strawberries, lemons, wine grapes, cauliflower, broccoli, and many, many more. And they employ more than 50,000 people at the peak of the season. All of this activity generates over $3.8 billion of income to the economy of these two counties. So as growers, we know that it's critical that we keep our employees safe and healthy. We're standing here in a strawberry ranch on the west side of Santa Maria, and this is a crop that was planted last fall, last September, early October, and over the winter these plants grew and gained strength, and we started actually harvesting fruit here in March. We'll continue, God willing, through December. And yeah, people are working hard. There's a lot of fruit here. This is a good ranch. Employee safety has always been paramount to any grower. This year it looks a little different than it has in the past, however. In the past we've primarily been focused on threats that may exist on the farm in the form of equipment or mechanization or tools that the employees are using. This year, obviously, it's very, very different. But we do have a good foundation to get started in addressing this pandemic because of the employee safety protocols we've had in the past.
Here we are today at a DUDA-owned nursery facility in Oxnard, where we propagate about 40 million of our 125 million seed needs for just the Oxnard window. One of the misconceptions that we've been facing for the last 6 months with the advent of COVID is that we agricultural producers have transformed our operation into something now that it wasn't 6 months ago. And I think that's a real big misconception, because as agricultural producers, we battle virus, disease, bacteria every day. And our current food safety policies and procedures have helped ensure that our customers and ultimately consumers get the highest quality produce that they can.
We're standing in a romaine field that has already been harvested, and as you can see behind me, they are harvesting romaine. When the CDC started issuing a lot of recommendations on how to prevent the spread of COVID, a lot of the recommendations weren't things that we weren't already doing. These things have existed in our policies for years. For example, hand washing procedures. Our hand washing procedures are to wash with soap for 20 seconds, use a single-use towel, and then use sanitizer. So that wasn't anything new. Employees who are sick aren't allowed to work, and they must report onset of illness to a manager or supervisor immediately. Again, that was nothing new. Even face coverings wasn't something totally out of the ordinary for us. A lot of our employees, because of the heavy winds that we sometimes get here in Santa Maria Valley, a lot of our employees choose to wear a face covering for dust or sun protection anyway.
We grow about 1.5 billion plants every year. We're currently in July, and we have transplanted a little over 22,000 acres as of now. You know, before all this COVID, there was already existing practices through personal hygiene, through worker protection standards. However, when the COVID came in, we're amping up, like the mask wearing, the distancing, temperature checks in the mornings. It takes a lot of monitoring.
Most of the women in the field have traditionally worn face coverings. They wear face coverings to protect their complexions. And so that was actually one of the challenges we faced initially, is because it was such a gender-based thing that women cover their faces, men naturally were a little uncomfortable with that. But now the women are doing what they've always done, which is wear a bandana over the lower part of their face. And the men generally don't wear bandanas. The men generally wear a face covering more like the surgical mask kind of face covering, or whatever is comfortable for them. I think that we also really benefit from being outdoors. You know, the data is starting to show that ventilation is such an important part, and we didn't know that when this started, but that really does appear to be a real thing. And we've been very, very gratified that we have not had any outbreaks in a field. We have had some employees who have tested positive, but in no instance has there been a outbreak among a crew where numerous people have gotten sick. That just hasn't happened.
If you just send somebody home and not tell them anything, they're going to be worried, you know, hey, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to feed my children? Or, you know, the rent, that's the biggest thing. How am I going to pay the rent? If you assure them up front that all this stuff is going to get taken care of, they will have a paycheck. They're okay with that, and they're happy to know that their employer is taking care of them.
Yeah, we have had to develop entirely new protocols regarding what to do when someone isn't feeling well, and encouraging people to tell us when they're not feeling well.
It's about changing the culture. It's not just about doing one training and you're done. This is an everyday situation, and it has to be monitored on a daily basis.
I would even go so far as to say that our current food safety policies and procedures have helped keep our workforce safe during this pandemic, because they already understand the need to defend a crop from disease. So when now we have to tell them we need to take those same policies and implement them personally, there wasn't really much of an education process. It was already there. Sure, we're wearing masks now in the field when people are within 6 or 8 feet. We weren't doing that before. Our transplanting machines that require people to sit close to each other, we've now put, you know, a barricade-like material in between the people to really limit the exposure to any close contact. We avoid all crowded conditions and crowded places. But one thing we've seen, and we're real fortunate to have witnessed, is there's a misconception that when the farm worker leaves the field, that all of a sudden he or she is liberated from the food safety policies and procedures that took place during the workday, and now add COVID. We're hearing stories of where our workers have been so grateful to see how serious we're taking the pandemic that when they get home, they're educating their family and their friends on what they're learning from us in the workplace.
People in the field are no different from people anywhere else in society in that they don't want to be sick. They really don't. And, you know, they're a little hesitant, or they were a little hesitant initially, to say, yeah, I do have a cough. I'm not feeling quite right. And that has really changed. I think that the level of education and understanding in the field about how this works, and about the fact that there's not going to be any retaliation, in fact, just the opposite, that we really encourage them to be forthcoming with us and let us know, it's changed a lot, and it has changed how we approach employees who don't feel good.
Every worker should be able to come to their work healthy and safe, and be able to go home healthy and safe.
The way that we treat our employees has a ripple effect. When we provide and care for them, they can provide and care for their families, and that has a positive impact on our community. And that's what we're seeing with COVID-19. The resources that we've given them, the training that we've given them, the information that we've provided to them, they're not just using that at work. They're taking it home, they're using it in their families, and they're using it in the community. So when one of our employees falls to injury or illness, it matters. And it matters because we want our employees to be safe so their families can be healthy, so our community can prosper. So the more we invest in our people, the better off we're all going to be. And we're actually seeing that work with the practices that we've put in place with COVID.
We certainly continue to do our part to protect our workforce and ultimately protect the consumer, because that's our job. We need to continue to produce high quality fruits and vegetables at the high demands that our customers require.
You know, there are so many reasons to feel confident in the safety of our food. Farmers have every incentive to keep their workforce healthy. And the first and probably most important incentive is that many of these people have worked with us for years and years, and we have a connection, and we care about them. And so the biggest motivator, I think, is just basic human decency.